All right, you guys, I'm live. This is episode 220 of my live stream, and I'm working on a graphic novel called Not Death But Love, the strange supernatural story of Elizabeth Barrett Browning. I'm going to be doing flat colors, and then my goal for this stream is probably to flat color panel 1 of page 68, and if I can get through the flat colors for that, I will allow myself a game of Risk, which is something I've been streaming a lot lately. Who am I? I'm Joshua Kemble. I've been an art director and illustrator for graphic designer and illustrator for over 20 years, and then an art director for going on 7 years now. And when I'm not art directing or illustrating or doing graphic design for clients, I am working on graphic novels like the one I'm working on today, which is we're doing for Turner Publishing. It's written by Lavender Vroman, and we're collaboratively kind of building this book. And I'm on page 68 of a book that's over 200 pages. And it's going to be a lot of work, but that's what I've been doing during my streams. Aside from that, like if you want to support my work, I've done 2 graphic novels, Jacob's Apartment, which is an all ages, or not all ages. None of my personal work has been all ages. It's like for people, like I'd say like 16 and up, called Jacob's Apartment. It's a doomed romance story about 2 polar opposites that find themselves drawn together due to really tumultuous experiences in their lives. And as they're drawn together, their dreams and reality start interweaving. It's also about navigating young adulthood and first love. And it's a slice of life graphic novel that I encourage you guys to pick up. And then there's 2 stories, which is my comic about faith and mental illness that talks about my journey learning how to navigate depression, as well as caregiving for somebody with a panic disorder and learning how to navigate religious hypocrisy at a really young age. So those are my 2 books. I'll be showing trailers for those as this stream goes on, but I really want to just work on comics this morning. It's also a Sunday, so you'll see in the background, like my son's kind of playing some video games. Hi, Ben. And then he's also eating a hot dog. He's waving in the background right over there. So and then my wife is, I think, taking a nap because she's been pretty overloaded with a lot of work lately too. We're both illustrators, and so my wife does a lot of kids books, and for the last year she's been in a scenario where it's like 5 books on her dock. Second she clears a book, it's a 5th book comes in. Which is a blessing and a curse, right? Because she's just constantly either being a mom or just like working on these books, which is exhausting. So anyhow, she's going to be kind of hanging out. You're going to hear a lot of stuff like dogs barking, people around the house, because it is a Sunday and we are kind of human beings who have lives outside of just doing art. So you're going to see and hear a lot of that going on in the background. But right now, let's get into coloring some comic pages. And I hope you guys are having a good Sunday morning. And I'll probably, like yesterday, be streaming throughout the day because I have to catch up on comics. So yeah, let's get into the stream and I'll talk a little bit about the comic I'm currently working on. So what you'll see in magenta is stuff that I have not colored yet. And then everything that's not magenta is stuff that I have colored. I already started flatting a little bit this morning. I tuned in a little bit to Jeremy Burley's stream this morning. It was pretty fun. He is currently kind of taking people's design ideas like for characters and then kind of improving on them. And Jeremy is a really talented illustrator. He also is a really talented cartoonist. I encourage you guys to subscribe to him. And honestly, we've hung out before and he's a really good guy. He's a friend of Jim Lujan. And just a really good overall dude. So check out Jeremy Burley, especially if you want to see how to take like an okay character design and then kind of like really like doctor it to where it's like a really solid, nice character design. And he knows his stuff. Like the guy's a toy designer too. And my son just said, "Gosh darn it," because I think he's frustrated at a point in his game. So anyhow. Here we go, and we're gonna go ahead and start coloring. I hope you guys are having a good morning, and I kind of can't wait to get into this. So this is a sequence in this story. This story is about Elizabeth Barrett Browning and Robert Browning. It's a historical fiction graphic novel, and it's about Elizabeth's kind of fascination and obsession with that she kind of started gaining in her life after the loss of her brother. Like, her brother dies in this really tragic accident at sea, and it's her closest brother. And then, because of her relationship with Robert, who's like this young kind of upstart poet who is considered kind of below her class, her father didn't approve of that, so she's sort of outcast from her family, and she's mourning the loss of her brother. And she starts getting really interested in these seances. And so right now in the story, we've seen her and Robert's kind of like the very well trotted story of Robert and Elizabeth kind of falling in love through letters, and then them eloping against her father's wishes, and going to Casa Gaidi, and then having a kid. So they've had a child. And then she started to attend these seances and at parties befriend a man named Daniel Douglas Home. And right now it's kind of a fun sequence in the story. It's a very ominous story, and it kind of will get more and more ominous and mysterious. But there's little elements of fun that I think lighten the story as well, and are really sophisticated writing by Lavender. But in this sequence, Robert is kind of delaying and avoiding working on his poetry. I think we can all relate to that. Like, as artists, like, there's definitely days where you find yourself procrastinating and working on fun stuff that has nothing to do with your work. So Robert's kind of doing just that right here, where he has brought home a life-size skeleton to practice his sketching. And Elizabeth has kind of called him on it. Like, aren't you supposed to be working on your poems? And Robert kind of sulks away and takes his skeleton out, kind of defeated. Like, well, you don't see the genius of this skeleton. And then proceeds to do this amazing dance sequence with the skeleton, cracking Elizabeth up. And in this page, their maid, Wilson, comes in and is a little stunned to see, but not super stunned. Like, you get the sense this is the kind of shenanigans that Robert is up to quite often. But she is a little stunned to see Robert dancing around their living room with a skeleton. And also Elizabeth has company that's going to come over pretty soon. And so Elizabeth is kind of saying, like, hey, take that skeleton out of here. We can't have a dinner party or whatever with a skeleton, a human skeleton. So Robert is complying at first, and then starts to waltz with the skeleton. This was a really fun page, challenging page to draw, but fun to draw all of Robert's movements as he's moving throughout this living room with a skeleton. But this first panel is going to be the most challenging of this entire page to flat, because it's showing a big view of the room, and there's a bunch of views of the skeleton Robert. So that means that I have to really do a lot of coloring on this page to kind of make it work. And if you're watching live, I'd love to hear what you're working on. I know we have a lot of creatives in our audience, and I'm always fascinated. I had a really good conversation with Gaz on my last stream. We talked a little bit about navigating kind of parenthood with being creative and working on your own personal projects, and some of the kind of sacrifices and interesting things that parenting can kind of do for a creative. And they're not negatives. They're just things that tend to happen when you become a parent and you're a creative. And it's kind of fun. It's neat to hear Gaz's take on that. Aside from that, we talked a little bit about like branding and stuff like that. So we were kind of discussing like whether or not it was wise for me to do risk streams on my YouTube. And I kind of fell on the side of like, whether it's wise or not, it's something I enjoy, so I'm probably going to do it. But it was interesting, and we were kind of comparing like my interest in Risk, his interest in Power Rangers, you know, and like he has a show about Power Rangers that he initially had on his channel, and then he kind of split it off because he didn't want to confuse people between the art and the Power Rangers stuff. My take on it is like anybody who follows my channel, you know, you guys probably know like I have a variety of content on here. I'll do like animations every once in a while. I'll do like music. I just kind of share a lot about my life, whether it's beneficial for the algorithm or not. And I generally am providing content that I enjoy making. So in a good example would be these streams. Like I really enjoy doing these live streams. I like our community, and it helps me get work done. And then it also provides content for people. So it's like a win-win, I feel like, for all of us because it provides hopefully you guys like a little bit of background noise while you're working. And hopefully a little bit of fun because I like to think that maybe sometimes we get pretty silly and funny on this stream. But then aside from that, it's like, you know, it's like it's not really worth it for me to do this unless it's super fun. And it's not really worth it for me to do this if I'm having to like think so much about algorithms that it starts actually like impacting my real workflow. And I've seen this happen with artists for sure, like where they get so into YouTube and the idea of like blowing up on YouTube that their actual work just stagnates. And so then they either become like a YouTube sketch artist where they're just doing drawings on YouTube, but it's really hard for them to make time to do comics because that's less profitable. There's way less of a scene on YouTube that wants to see people working on comics than I think we'd like. But yeah, if you want to be really successful on YouTube, you should probably be doing like sketchbook videos and tutorials on how to use programs. Maybe like gearing towards like basic drawing stuff for beginners. And for better or ill, that's just I'm not, you know, saying like why I haven't gotten big on YouTube or anything is because of that, but it's like I'm not really angling to like blow up my YouTube channel. Now, I like the idea of my YouTube channel growing, and I do enjoy the community that's built around these live streams in particular. And I have seen a much bigger kind of engagement and traction doing these live streams than I ever did when I was doing other kinds of videos. And I love it because they're kind of like lower effort videos. Like I can just work on my art, talk about what I'm doing, talk about what's on my mind and stuff like that, hang out with you guys in the community, and just kind of get stuff done. Corey just said, I hate making tutorials. Me too. But again, like, you know, I understand the purpose of tutorials and I've looked them up and used tutorials before. Like if I'm trying to learn a new thing, YouTube is a really great resource for that. And if you can provide that helpful content for people, you're probably going to get more views because you are providing something for people that, you know, is kind of like priceless. Like it's great to be able to provide for people. It's just not my thing. So again, my thought on like even the risk streams on this is just kind of like, and I talked to Gaz about this too. And Gaz, I think, ended up agreeing with me, which was really interesting. He was like, after we've talked, I think you should probably actually, yeah, just keep doing the risk streams the way you're doing them. And my thought on it was like, well, the worst case scenario is I end up with people who aren't like huge comic fans, like being brought to the channel. And then my main people who are like really into comics and stuff like that, like if they don't like the risk things, they can always skip that and go on to the next one, like this, where I'm not doing a risk stream yet. I'm probably going to play risk a little bit later though, as a reward. It's like an incentive to finish flatting this page, which might take a really long time to flat. But anyhow, it was an interesting discussion, and I think Gaz and I were both talking about, well, there is this interesting thing, like even his Power Rangers content, where he's actually reaching people who aren't just drawing. He's reaching beyond that to people who are like fans of Power Rangers, which are probably his big core buyers anyway. Hang on a sec. I got to check what my son needs. Hang on. What do you need, Ben? What's up? Okay. Let me come check what you're. what you got going on. Okay, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go check on what Ben needs. What's up, bud? Oh. Oh. Does it cost anything? No.
It doesn't cost anything, but has enough purchases available for purchase. However, you can't play it in full without having to spend any money.
Okay.
But there are some items available for purchase that make it easier to complete the game.
Can't remember the password.
And also make it more fun.
Hold on.
However, I don't think we need to get those right now.
Okay, so my son wants to download an app, and I have to look up the password for that because I can't for the life of me remember the password. I just have to find the paper. Trying to find it. Hang on, guys. I'll be right back. You know what I might do while this happens? Because I have to kind of do this. I'm going to put on a trailer for you guys so you don't have to watch the boring dad stuff. And then Art by Galen said, "What's up, y'all? Not much. I'm just helping my son right now real quick, so I'll be right back." Let's put on the trailer. Yeah, let's put on this trailer. I like this one.
Hi, my name's Chris and I like comics. I want to talk about this comic for a second here. I just got this in. I ordered it direct from my local comic shop through Diamond Distributing. It's Joshua Kemble's Jacob's Apartment. I really enjoyed this book. There's all kinds of comics out there, let's be honest. There's fun comics, there's superhero comics, there's young adult comics, there's adventure comics for kids. There's so many different things under the planet. But there's also an entire subgenre of alternative books. Real life, real world depictions in comic book form. Situations that happen to each and every one of us. And this is a fine example of that. If you get a chance, order this book from your local comic shop. You won't be disappointed. I can't sing its praises high enough. Okay? Check it out. Jacob's Apartment by Joshua Kemble.
Tell her dad couldn't find the password sheet. Okay. All right. Problem semi-solved. We'll see. Art by Galen said, all good, man. I'll be chilling. Nice. How's it going? I hope everything's going well. We're just kind of flat coloring this morning. And kind of, I have a lot of flats. As you can see, this page was a little complicated, mainly because of the character work, right? Like I had to do this whole dance sequence with this character and the skeleton. Because how, we all draw people dancing with skeletons, right? Skeleton dances. You know what? Thinking about it, actually, I don't think this was conscious by Lavender, the writer here, but skeleton dances actually do have like a really long history in art. There's like that old Disney. I can't remember which one. Did Mom get you the thing, Ben?
Yes, well, there will be that. I
love it. Okay.
The app.
Nice. So Ben got a new app. He wanted to check out a game. Yeah, there's like that old, I think it's Silly Symphonies or something, where Disney had like, it's a very famous animation sequence of skeletons dancing around. So in a weird way, this is like a little bit of an homage. I don't know if it's intentional, but an homage to cartooning. Dancing skeleton, you guys. Corey said, I got to get you into a password app, bro. Hearing you looking for a password paper hurts my heart. This is Corey, who is very tech savvy, and also what is the, I would say like the town crier. There's a word for it though, like a person who's sounding the alarm, because Corey is very technically proficient, but he's also the guy kind of sounding the alarm for the doomsday that will eventually happen to us all because of tech. It's like this weird, I think because Corey is very technically proficient, he is aware of the tech apocalypse that is upon us. I don't know if that makes sense. Yeah, like a canary in a coal mine. But you're also a coal miner, right? Like it's a weird thing. You're being both the canary and the miner. I kind of like it, but it makes sense. Like if you're close to something, the closer you are to something, if you see a problem, the more that problem's going to stand out like a giant, rooster shooting laser beams. That's how I would put it. Art by Galen said, I would consider myself tech savvy, but I also have a password paper. And then Art by Galen said, going good, working on some Blender stuff and hanging out. How are things going with you, good sir? Blender is something I have always wanted to mess around with. And I have never, like the few times I've kind of cracked open Blender, I didn't get much done. What I'd need to do, speaking of tutorials, even though I'm like not a big fan of making a lot of tutorials, because I'm much like Corey, where I don't enjoy it, and I already have a career in art. Like I don't need to make a career doing tutorials on YouTube, although it is lucrative, right? Like you could make some probably decent money doing just tutorials, or again, just like craft videos on YouTube. But anyhow, so Blender, speaking of tutorials, I should actually watch more Blender tutorials and kind of learn that program, because it is kind of cool, especially with 3D printing. It's pretty neat what you can accomplish. And from what I've heard, I don't know, Galen, you can tell me if this is true, but from what I've
I love husky.
Benji said he now has a husky and he loves huskies, I think, in his game.
I don't know what I said.
But what is it? Now I feel derailed. I don't remember what I was saying. Oh yeah, Blender. So especially with 3D printing and stuff, learning how to do 3D modeling is a really good thing. We've had a person that was a friend of mine in art school who does a lot of costume art for movies. There's actually two of them that we've had on Artcasters, but one of them is Oksana, my friend Oksana, and she has lately been posting a lot of just these amazing, like stunning 3D sculptures and stuff that she's been working on, I think in Blender, and they're very like stunning. Like what she's able to accomplish in 3D is kind of amazing. So Benji is dancing around and kind of singing something in the house. That's interesting. And we are flatting comics, you guys, on a Sunday. A work Sunday. I feel like this weekend is a work weekend where I'm going to catch up a lot on comics and hopefully play a couple games of Risk. That's my objectives. Gary said, tutorials are a good example of something I know would be great for growing an audience, and yet I can't be bothered. Exactly. I'm with you too. And again, Gary, it's like you're kind of in a similar boat to me, where it's like, look, I have a creative job. Like I don't want to do tutorials. Like I don't want that to be my creative job. I think I enjoy my day job being a creative more than I would doing tutorials. Sectional Ren said, oh, you guys, we have spam from I always like to read the spam as long as it's safe for work. So here's a beautiful spam comment from Twitch. It says, hi, I want to offer promotion on your channel. Viewers, followers, views, chatbots. This is Sectional Ren. I think this is a real user. This is definitely not a bot. The price is lower than any competitor. The quality is guaranteed to be the best. Auto on, incredibly flexible and convenient. Order management panel. Everything here. Let me share it. Everything in your hands. Go dodgehype.com. That sounds really legitimate. They must be getting a lot of business because they have to spam bot random stream channels to get traction. So they must be just blowing up, you guys. I don't know. This is an old bit from my channel, but I still think it would be funny if I had money to waste. I would do this. I want to at someday, maybe Corey and I can do this. Maybe if we go to Arizona, we can try this. Like if we go to Arizona and do that con that Gary liked so much, we can just write down spam bot sales pitches and then use them in person to like try to sell our comics. Like I would love to use that pitch line. Like it's like, hey guys, somebody comes by my booth and they're like, 2 stories, what's that about? And I'm like, hi, I want to offer promotion of your channel viewers, followers, views, chatbots. The price is lower than any competitor. The quality is guaranteed. And just do that whole thing and see if it works in person. I think that would be hilarious. You could get all the porn bots and the kind of like the promotional bots. What would be hilarious is if like you just kill it like in sales, like doing that, like at a con, at a convention. Like people are suddenly like, wow, I really want to buy 2 stories now. I want to buy Jacob's Apartment. That sounds amazing. I don't know, guys. It's just something to consider. I'm just saying we could start collecting these spam bot pitch lines. I mean, there's a team of people that are using these marketing tactics. It's gotta work. Corey said, "Are those printers that have the glass plate on the bottom of a UV reactive liquid?" Nice. Oh, nice. Art by Galen said, "I have a resin printer and I've created my first few models and printed them. My most favorite is the one where I turned R2D into a mimic, like from DMD." Art by Galen, I gotta talk to you because I have had this hope. I have this character. It's like Kid Josh from 2 Stories, and I think it would make a really cool 3D figure. And at some point in my life, I want to make it like an actual one, and then maybe make a little resin cast of it, and then be able to make like a couple replicas that I could sell at shows. I think that would be really fun. At least to have one would be really cool. And maybe Art by Galen, you could help me make that happen, or at least walk me through making that happen. That would be cool. Art by Galen said, "Yeah, Corey, about the vat of UV reactive liquid." And then Corey said, "Yeah, those are really cool. I like them better than the printers that leave all those ridges on the side." And Art by Galen said, "Yeah, they're great for figures, minis especially." And he said, "That's my main goal, to make 3D models and figures of my characters." That's awesome. And Corey said, "That's cool. I have daydreams of doing dioramas for my action figures." This is true, you guys. If you look back when Corey and I were doing the 48-hour art check, which we did for years. Like we did that for years. It was like a show where we would kind of check in with each other and see where we were at on each of our personal projects. And we'd ask like 3 questions. Corey, you got to refresh me. What were our 3 questions? I think it was like, what are you trying to do? What did you do toward it? And then what are your plans for next time, or something like that. And I think there was something involved in it that was like, hey, what challenges did you face? I don't know. It's been a long time since we did the art check, but they were really valuable questions. And honestly, I think it's not a bad method, especially if you're an artist struggling to kind of get a creative workflow going. It's a really good kind of like accountability system where you can kind of check in with another artist, and it's almost like Alcoholics Anonymous for artists, to be creative. Yeah. Here, Corey's coming in. He said,
Dad, stop talking about alcohol.
and then Ben just said, "Stop talking about alcohol." Like that's true.
Alcohol is bad for you.
I agree, Ben. It is bad for you. Let's.
You just stop talking about it now.
Okay, I will not talk about it, Ben. I understand. So anyhow, Corey said, that's pretty adorable. Ben's like, that's a bad thing to talk about. Okay, here's the questions. It's what did you do? What challenges did you have? And what are you about to do? So those are kind of the core questions that we did on the 48-hour art check. But back when we were doing that, there was a point where one of Corey's projects was making a diorama like with like a really realistic brick background for like some of his action figures. It was pretty rad. I feel like the person to talk to about that, if you're not 3D printing it, would be Scott, because I feel like Scott, out of all of us, Scott has like a gift for fabrication. Scott Cirkland. Art by Galen said, "Is it okay to post links here?" Yes, it is, but I think the only person who can post links are the mods, and I do not see Frank Salazar in the chat, so I don't know if he can help you out with that. I could mod Corey because I don't see why Corey isn't a mod on my channel. Corey, do you want me to mod you so you can kind of share whatever link Galen's going to send? Let me know. Let me, I should mod Corey anyway, and I should mod, how do I mod you though? I think I have to go to the YouTube channel. This may not be possible. I'll do it after the show for sure, but I should be modding Corey anyway. Corey, you should be a moderator. It's funny to me that I haven't made you a moderator yet. So let me see if I can do this without it creating like a weird little slapback thing. Corey. And let's see. Add as managing moderator. Corey, you have the toolkit now. Let me know if that worked. I think that worked. So Corey, you're now a mod. I think you have the wrench now. Let me know if that worked. Yeah. Oh, Art by Galen said it's all good. I was going to show you my R2 mimic. I want to see that. Art by Galen, is that something you show on your channel, on your YouTube channel? Because maybe we can all just like check it out at your YouTube. The wrench of power, says Art by Galen. It's true. I gave him the big wrench too, like the managing mod. So now Corey, if he ever gets angry at me, can just decimate everything on my YouTube channel. Corey is the guy on Risk who has like such a big army that it's just really a matter of time where when he decides to just nuke everything. But yeah, it's a good thing me and Corey are friends. Corey has the capability to erase me from the internet. All right, so I am basically just coloring this skeleton. Coloring skeletons, guys. That's this Sunday morning. Adam Lore is joining us. How's it going, Adam? I had Frank on a couple days ago to talk about you guys relaunching the Hundreds anthology. Might not be branded as the Hundreds, but it is a really interesting thing. And I think Frank, especially, I just, for years, I've felt like Frank should do an anthology. He's just such a community builder. And I feel like he'll really rock. So I'm glad you made him EIC and that you guys are going to put together a new anthology. And the theme sounds really fun. And Frank was on a couple streams ago to kind of talk about it. And it's a really cool thing. I wish I could do it myself, but like obviously I have like 100 and something pages that I have to knock out with pretty much every free minute of my time. But I think that you're going to get buy-in from a lot of people. I know that I think Jeff also called it out on his channel, and I'm hoping Jeff starts streaming more on YouTube because I love what he's doing. Like anybody who's not seeing the pages that Jeff Lafferty's done recently, go check out Jeff Lafferty's Instagram, and your mind will be blown. Like he's doing some really cool stuff. He's bringing like his A game to like a Western comic, and I cannot wait to see it. Like, it looks like probably the best comic I've seen him make. And that's not saying, like, he's made some good comics, you know. Jeff used to work for Marvel. I mean, you know, he's like a legit cartoonist, but there's something about these pages that's just like, it's like he's bringing the passion that he puts into his commissions and his like pop cultural prints, but into his own property, which is really cool. Nice. And then Adam said Kevin gave the blessing. That makes sense to do a third hundreds anthology, and he might do some art for the cover for it. I want to show off. I love Kevin. He's like a brother to me. He's one of my very good friends that I made in Portland, and he's also one of the most talented artists I know. But I want to show this. This is just hundreds related. I gotta hang it back up, but whatever. This is on my wall. This is original Kevin Cross. Oh my gosh, here. Original Kevin Cross art from the original Hundreds anthology. I have it framed and I have it right by my art table because, dude, like Kevin's inks are disgustingly good. And I've literally hung out with him and made comics with him. And that guy just is one of those guys who, like Jeff Smith, can just do with the sweep of a hand, like a perfect line where the width just varies just perfectly. But yeah. But of course Kevin's going to bless that. Let's hang that back up. Oh my gosh. Come on. Sorry, I had to make sure I hung that up again. I also lost my light in the process. Get that light back up. I'm a professional, guys. And the light is now tangled in cords. Oh, I gotta really work on this cord action thing that's happening here. What is going on? Just one action of grabbing a picture to show you guys, and my whole setup's like in disarray. Come on. What is going on here? Okay. We have like a cord tangle back here. That is absurd. And I gotta fix it real quick. Sorry, guys. There we go. I think we're good to go now. All to show you guys Kevin Cross's beautiful artwork. And now, like, there's cord tangles that are preventing the base of this. Okay, there we go. With crisis comes opportunity. Okay. Note to self, never show you guys anything again. I'm just kidding. So Adam said I have an original Monkey Mod page. His brushwork is unbelievable in person. Yeah, it's amazing. And he learned from the best. Yeah, Kevin is a gentleman and a scholar. Okay. But that's cool. I'm glad you guys have the blessing, and I think that'll be good to try to kind of relaunch the community, bring it back to the community. I think it's all really good stuff. Cool, and I think Galen sent Corey the link, and yeah, so I guess that means it's an official Hundreds anthology that Adam and Frank are going to spearhead, and that's pretty cool. So if you guys are curious about kind of being a part of the next anthology, I think Frank is, you know, we've had Frank on the Artcasters. Like, Frank is an unusually gifted fellow when it comes to, I just called Frank a fella. Frank, you're a gifted fella. No, but Frank he has like a gift, and Scott and Corey and I really wanted to highlight this, he's a community guy. Like Frank is really good at building community. And he's also like really good at being a cheerleader for other independent artists' work. And so for years in our space, I feel like Frank is like one of the unifying factors between all our channels. He's always supporting people's work. He's always eager to kind of hang out, and he's grown quite a bit of a following just by being like a good guy and hanging in the community and being really loyal and just awesome. And so a community builder like that running an anthology, that's I don't see that failing. I just don't see that failing. Because I do think Frank will get it done. So yeah, anyhow, good job, you and Adam, you two, getting that rocking. And hopefully it kind of puts some glue back in the hundreds community, you know, because I feel like that's how a lot of us met. And why wouldn't we want to see that kind of grow? But if anybody has any questions about that anthology or whatever, talk to Adam, talk to Frank, and they can kind of get you hooked up on like what the theme is and deadlines and stuff like that. And also be patient, because I do think it's a work in progress. They're kind of spitballing this idea in public. And so like any project, like this is going to evolve as it goes and details will start getting ironed out. But the important thing is no one was doing it. They're stepping in and doing it. So if you don't like them doing it, make your own anthology, right? But if you want to see the hundreds back, I would recommend just go with their thing.
Now, who's going to go do their task in this? Who should I tell to go do their task today?
I don't know who you should tell to do their task, Ben. That's interesting. Okay, so Gary said, I think Frank is taking a social media break or something. Yeah, that's possible. So probably talk to Adam. Maybe Adam would know the details on that.
Maybe this guy. That guy's a bit suspicious.
Art by Galen said, yeah, there's a link to his Instagram. So there you go. There's Art by Galen's R2 sculpt. I can't wait to check that out. And there is a link that Corey Kerr, who I just modded. I have no idea why he wasn't a mod in the first place. So we're basically like coloring this skeleton, and we were talking about the new hundreds anthology. How's everybody doing this morning? I feel like Gary is really close to closing out D versus M. Oh, I was going to ask Gary. Gary, are we done with our disagreements now? Would you agree, Gary, that the disagreement arc may be closed? And then Corey said, I don't have any mods on my channel. Hey, mod me, dude. I feel like Scott and Corey need to be my mods anyway. I mean, not that you're on all the time when I'm on, but it's just like, makes a lot of sense. So my son is speaking in a fake language. He's going like, Sapadora, the potato. It's kind of amazing. Nice. He said it's hard to be, this is a Gary on our disagreement arc. He said it's hard to absolutely agree or disagree with may be closed. Leaving that option open. Leaving the option open to continue our disagreement war. I don't know if Gary is ready to make peace. Because the war has been kind of enjoyable for both of us, I think. And so it's like, do we continue hostilities? It does make for interesting content, like cross-platform content. You know what we should do? Okay, Gary, I'm gonna play this for like drama points that can guide people to both of our channels. Find out on Gary Hodge's next live stream. When's your live streaming next week, Gary? Because you've been alternating the days a little bit. You got to drop when your live stream is. Gary said, so if you want to close it, you would probably need to say, I think the disagreement war should continue. That's true. I could put you in a perplexing conundrum where to agree would mean the war continues, but to disagree, if you want to continue the war, you like absolutely have to close the war. I love that opening. Corey's okay. So Saturday, 11 a.m. This is like you know, in the Westerns when they're like setting, they're like, hey, you, me, sundown, 6 guns, right? It's like Gary's doing that. He's saying Saturday, 11 a.m. That's when you'll find out whether our disagreement arc will end. And Corey said, Gary is that country at the peace talks that gets offended at the size of the flags on the table or placement of the forks at lunch and quits the talks. He's like, look, guys, we were going to sue for peace here. But I mean, that was a pretty weak handshake. That's all I'm saying. Like, I felt like I walked in here confidently thinking like our countries are not going to be at war. But then like we shook hands and I mean, a dead hand? Like, I don't know if I can go for peace now. Because it was like a dead handshake. I mean, at least give me a real handshake if you want peace, you know? Yeah. Gary said, never give an inch, Corey. I disagree, Gary. I think you always give an inch. That's all I'm saying. I disagree. Oh, man. Oh, no. Did I start it up again? The disagreement arc. It's going to be a loop, like 5 years. Like when Gary and I are old men in a retirement home, the nurses are just going to be annoyed. They're going to be like, this Gary and Josh, man. I don't know how we'll be at the same retirement home because we don't even live in the same state. But let's just, for the sake of this picture, imagine we end up at the same retirement home, and the nurses are just like, I don't know what's up with Josh and Corey. Like, and they'll be like, hey, you know, do you want some of this wonderful pudding? And it's like, I'm like, yeah. And they're like, okay, guys, we're ordering the pudding next. We need either chocolate or vanilla pudding. Everybody put in your votes. Bingo nights on Tuesdays. And then Gary's like, hey, I'd like bingo nights to be on. I'd like bingo nights to be on Wednesdays. And I'm like, I disagree, Corey. I think they should be on Thursdays. And you're like, well, I'd like chocolate pudding. And I'm like, I disagree, Corey. I'd like vanilla pudding. And they're like, you guys, they've been at this for 100 years. Because somehow we're 150 years old or something. And then it says, Corey Kerr. I almost called Corey Gary Kerr. Corey. How did this happen? You can tell I've been working on comics a little too long today. Corey says, I seem to recall some kind of historical reference, but it's too vague in my mind to be specific. I think there's a lot of historical references where someone is like trying to feign. Ben, what are you yelling about, bud?
I hate these ads.
The ads?
I hate these ads so much.
Then play a different game, Ben. He's mad at the ads that keep appearing on his app. And I just told him, if you don't like the ads, you should play a different game. I think, Corey, part of why it's hard to recall a specific historic reference. I think there has been like, I think this is just a notorious thing that's happened in world meetings a lot, where it's like somebody will literally blame it on a handshake or the silverware, or like they're kind of like pretending that it's the other person's fault that they will not sue for peace. They're like, look, if you really wanted to sue for peace, you wouldn't have smiled like that when you said whatever talk you said. Let's see here. So we are getting through the colors and we're getting close to the hour mark, which is pretty cool. So I will probably take a little break once we hit the hour mark and play a trailer. If there's a specific trailer you guys would like to see, let me know. If you're watching this and you're like, hey, how do I make a trailer for your channel that can both promote your work and my work and maybe redirect people to my YouTube as well? Well, here's how you do it. You make a minute-long video where you talk about 2 stories and Jacob's apartment, because I want to promote those books. But you can then talk about whatever you want. Let's say you're Gary. You could talk about D versus M. And again, it's like, as long as it's a minute and a half tops, I will play it on my channel. And it'll be in rotation. So it's pretty likely that it'll be played for like over a year, giving you promotion and doing me a solid, because it provides more variety on the little trailers that I play for my books. So it's like a win-win for everybody. You guys, this is the opportunity of a lifetime I'm offering you. I'm offering exposure. Exposure bucks. Exposure bucks. Okay. Harry said, I do want to make a commercial for you once I'm done drawing the book. I would love one, especially in the vein of your D versus M advertisement. I think that was pretty hilarious. Okay, Corey said, I seem to recall some kind of historic... Oh, wait. We already read that one. We're caught up on chats. That's good. All right, speaking of these trailers, I'm going to go ahead and put a trailer on. We have one more Robert to color. Then we have to color Elizabeth. And then we have to color a bookshelf, which is going to suck. I hate bookshelves so much. Art by Galen said, you need to make ads of your own stuff and force the kids to watch it before they can play or watch anything. If they want to skip the ad, they have to do chores. I like that. I kind of do actually do that. I have a couple of ads I've made myself. And you know what? Just to prove it, I'm going to put on one of my trailers that is an ad I made myself. And you guys have to watch it before you do your chores or something. Or you have to do, I don't know, read Galen's comment. Okay. I'll be back after this. Speak clearly, it seems that only in dreams can we be these things we've seen and walk around. At the seams. All right, guys, and I need another minute or so, so I'm going to put on another trailer. This is an example of like the community trailers that I was talking about. I'll put on Wordzoid by Jim Lujan. This is one of my favorites.
Well, Peter, since I'm such a big music fan, I'm gonna have to go with Karen Carpenter. Oh, Stu, I'm sorry. That's the incorrect answer. Trish, what you got for us?
I'm gonna go with Kim Gordon.
All right, let's check that answer. Kim Gordon. Do we have a Kim Gordon? Yes, and that means you're our new Wordzoid champion, Trish. Dale, tell Trish what she's won. Trish, you've won a copy of 2 stories, a memoir of faith and mental illness. Handwritten, hand-drawn, and handed to you by artist and writer Joshua Kemble. But wait, that's not all. You've also won a copy of Jacob's Apartment, the story of a doomed romance. What happens when you take Eternal Sunshine out of the spotless mind and put it in a blender with Ghost World? You get Jacob's Apartment, written and illustrated by Joshua Kemble. Trish, thank you for playing Wordzoid.
All right, great job, Trish.
I was told I was gonna get a lifetime supply of paper towels.
All right, guys, and now we're back to flat coloring. So hopefully, Art by Galen, that was an example of my little forced ads. You guys have to sit through those. Actually, so when I used to live stream, at about the hour mark, just my own body is like telling me like get up, stretch, like move for a second, you know. So I would just disappear and it would just be dead air for like a good like minute to a minute and a half. And I usually don't need more than a minute because all I need to do is like step up, stretch, like walk outside for 2 seconds, get like 5 seconds of sunlight or whatever, and then come back. But then it dawned on me, I was like, oh, I have like these book trailers. And so it's not dead air. So hopefully it's more enjoyable for you guys. I'm like, I can just play those. And that allows me to like get up, stretch, and then keeps the stream kind of interesting. And also promotes my books, which is like a big reason why I do these streams, right? Like I do want to sell books. It's a strange thing. I'm a graphic novelist who wants people to buy my comics. So anyhow, it was just like, I don't know. I don't see a lot of streamers doing that. Quite often they'll just put like a dead page there. And I was like, you know what? I'll do that. And then after a while, I got kind of bored with showing the same 2 trailers. And I was like, hey, if anybody wants to, you know, spice it up and like promote their stuff too, like cool, you know, let's do that. And I wasn't really expecting much, but then the community kind of came through and like, you know, a couple people made videos. And so now I've got a little arsenal of like break videos that I can play. And it's been like a lifesaver, especially during longer streams. Cause there's been definitely like live streams where I've gone like 8 hours. Cause I'm working, you know? And so I think it's beneficial. I think it's pretty cool. Jeff Lafferty's here. How's it going, Jeff? I hope you're doing good, man. I love the comics you're making. I just like absolutely, if you guys have not checked out Jeff Lafferty's latest like Western comic, he's just been like plugging away, making amazing pages. I you know, I'm gonna oversell it and just say probably the best pages I've seen Jeff make. And Jeff makes good comic pages. Like I said, he's a heavy hitter. He's worked for Marvel, you know, but like, I feel like he's pouring, I don't know. I feel like Jeff, you're pouring your soul into it and it's fun to see. It's beautiful. Anyhow. So yeah, Jeff said, like the commercial. Yeah. My favorite of all the commercials, you know, I appreciate everyone who submitted one, but my favorite is Jim Lujan's. Because it's just so funny, and it's Jim, and also it was flattering because I've known Jim for years, and to have him make an animation specifically for me was like a real treat. Like I can't explain how much that meant getting that. And also the fact that it was just like, it was Luhan humor, but it still managed to like hustle my wares. I'm like, well done, Jim. Well done. Yeah. And then Corey put a link to Jeff's Instagram, so you can check out these Western pages that I've been talking about. Like they're these beautiful, like gray toned pages. It's just Jeff at his best. And Jeff's work always is at his best, but this is like, I can't explain it. It's like, I can tell there's something that unlocked there. And so you guys need to support Jeff as he's doing this. Cheerlead him on as he's working on this project, because taking on a comic, even if it's like a 24 pager, is a beast. This comics thing we all do, it's a lot of work. And we want to see more Jeff Lafferty comics. You know, Berserkernaut was cool. This is, again, like, you guys should see the pages. Just check out the Instagram page that Corey put in the links. If you don't want to see that comic, what is wrong with you? You know what? I'll go even further. If you don't want to see that comic come to fruition, do you even like comics? Like, come on. Support Jeff's stuff. I also was really excited to see Jeff stream again a couple weeks back, and he was mentioning Adam and Frank's anthology, which I think we're all really excited about. And also, Jeff mentioned this in his stream, and I've mentioned it a few times too. Again, like, Frank is the guy to do this. Like, Frank needed to do an anthology forever. He's such a community builder. He's such a good guy. That I just, like, I don't see it not succeeding because of Frank's attachment with it. It's like, if Frank's attached, he'll make it happen. He can rally people together. He has enough connections with the community where he can cheerlead it. And then also, Frank is like super crazy talented at promotion. Like, so it's like, you also have this like guy who, you know, like, is going to go on every show he can to talk about it. He's going to hustle those wares. Like, he will move those books of that anthology. And then I think Corey just checked out the pages and was like, killer pages. Yeah, they are. It's like, it's kind of funny because I'm doing this style that's kind of mimicking a little bit of like the really traditional way that Jeff is approaching those pages. And he's putting my work to shame in a good way. I'm not meaning that as a negative. It's just, it's beautiful pages, really. Yeah. But it's also neat because it's still, it's definitely got Jeff's like voice all over it. It's like mixed media. There's like a lot of ink. There's a little bit of splatter. There's definitely colored pencil work in it. It's on toned paper. It's just really pretty stuff. So Jeff, basically, I'm just going to feed your ego for like this entire stream. But I can't explain how excited I was to like really see those, because again, it's like, I'm a big fan of Jeff Lafferty's stuff. Anyhow, I'm also glad to hear the Hundreds anthology has Kevin's blessing. That's awesome news, Adam. So it's going to be an official Hundreds book. That's beautiful. Beautiful. All right, guys. So I am just trying to slam through these flats. And then when these flats are done, you know, depending if that takes an hour or two or whatever, I have to finish the flats for this panel in order to bust out some world domination, you guys. But I'm not quite there. Not quite in world domination territory here. So it's going to be interesting because I think, coincidentally, I think that Wilson and Elizabeth are both wearing the same color outfit, you guys. Hopefully they don't offend each other by wearing almost the same colors. And that wasn't planned. That's just a happy circumstance. Because Wilson, I have her Italian costume. So Wilson is their maid. And when she's in Italy, she kind of frees up a little bit. Like she not freezes, but frees herself up a little bit. And I just realized I did these flat selections wrong. So we're going to kind of correct that a little bit. Like really, this should still be colored. That part right above is going to be the white part. And actually, this little triangle here is white. Tra-la-la-la-la, triangle. Okay. And then this part will be white. But anyhow, Wilson, the maid, it's like a story thing, but like when they get to Italy, she kind of frees herself up a little bit and is wearing more Italian style maid outfit, which actually is like historically researched and stuff like that. So this actually would fit the character, like that they're going to be kind of in fashion in Italy and then in fashion in England. And England, like it's a much more kind of rigid like costume. And then Corey Kerr said Jeff's cowboy book has a Gary Gianni vibe. I don't actually know Gary Gianni. Does that make me bad? Corey, can you put a link for like Gary Gianni stuff in the chats? That would be cool to see. And I think, let's see, I got a message on. Nice. Okay. The only Gary artist I know is Gary Hodges. I don't know this Gary Gianni guy. But he sounds connected. I hope I don't get canceled for that. All right, so what do we got? Let's see. I'm trying to find my page. I'm like right now I know it looks like I'm not doing anything. Off screen, I am cycling through my old pages and trying to find the page where they first get to Italy so I can get Wilson's costume colors prepped and ready to reference. And those are before she was pregnant in the story. So I think we're in like the page 30s, 30 something that I have to pull up. Oh, awesome. Corey linked to Gary Gianni in there. Flesk Publications, Gary Gianni. I'm going to have to check out that link. So we have, I want to see Wilson. I know the first time she wears that costume is they're out in the marketplace, and it's like when Elizabeth realizes she's pregnant, or actually Wilson realizes that Elizabeth is pregnant. And I think maybe it's in the 20s. My goodness. When you're working on a big book like this, it's like, it's easy to kind of start just tens of pages, or like, was that page 20? Was that page 35? Like, I can't remember. There it is. Okay, that is her costume, so that's good. So I'm going to pull that open for reference for when I color panel 2. There it is. There's her Italian costume. That's her grabbing a message boy and saying, "Hey, get the doctor." But I needed those colors. So those colors are really similar. They're going to have, you guys, they're going to have aesthetically complementary stuff.
Why is that it's not big sweaters?
Jeff Lafferty said he did some Conan and Solomon Kane stuff. I like his stuff. You know, Conan, like, one of the reasons I really like the Conan books, and I think it's different for my generation, because there was a point in time where like Conan books were like huge. And then there was a point in time when I was younger where people weren't really reading Conan. Like, they liked the movies. But Conan was one of those books where when you're like a poor kid like me, when you'd go to the comic shop, the dollar bin would just be full of Conan books, and they're all beautifully illustrated. Like, and you could get like, 50 Conan books for like 20 cents each or something, like, so I built like quite a collection of Conan books just because they were cheap. And they looked good. Like, the art was cool, but they weren't in vogue at the time that I was younger. And so it's like, but I do remember just the beauty of those books. Like, they're so well illustrated. And it was just kind of a cool thing when you're younger, because you could also get like a crap load of them. And each one usually had like a really dynamic story that almost completed itself. And I remember that really vividly about the Conan books, was that not only was it like affordable to kind of get copies of it, but the art was really great. And usually it was almost like a self-contained story, even if it had a continuing storyline. It was like you get a lot of story for one issue. But I also remember just like a lot of brushwork, a lot of beautiful brushwork in the Conan books. Which was uncommon at the time that I got into comics. Corey said his comic is a seafaring. He was saying the thing that the Gary Gianni thing he was linking to. Okay, I think I got to catch up in chats. I could do a Jeff Lafferty and read the chats backwards. I'm teasing, but if you ever watch Jeff Lafferty, sometimes just to troll people, he'll like read comments backwards so that it sounds like the person's saying a different thing than they're saying in chat, which I think is hilarious. Anyhow, but let me try to catch up. So Corey was saying, yeah, his pencils are fantastic. I have this Hellboy Into the Silent Sea and one of his Lovecraft books. That's awesome. And then Jeff Lafferty said, I didn't know you did a Hellboy. I have to find that. And then Corey's linking to some of his pencils. So if you guys are watching this after the fact or even now, like, Corey's dropping some awesome links. And then Corey was explicating that it's a seafaring story. Behind the scenes artist edition is crazy. And then Adam was saying, in regards to Conan, he's doing a Conan parody in the next issue called Gonad. I like it. It's pretty funny. Adam's humor is pretty hilarious. I don't know if you guys have picked up Toad Road. I still need to pick up issue 2. Adam, is that available to purchase? I would like to purchase a copy of issue 2. Okay, let's get the lips here. Paul Pate said, hey, Josh, just got here. Nice. How's it going, Paul? Gary and I have still been disagreeing. I just wanted you to know, Paul. Disagreement arc continues. We're in a battle of disagreement. And Gary did point out a loophole where we could end the disagreement war, where I could say, hey, I think we should continue our disagreement war. And then he'd have to disagree, which would cancel out our war. But I feel like as a risk player, I'm like, do I fall for his strategy? Because there's something deeper there that Gary might be pushing for. Paul was saying, Gonad the Barbarian. That's hilarious. And then Adam said, I have an issue of Tow Road number 2 set aside for you. Awesome. Excited to hear it. I really want to see it. Okay, guys, we have finished the main characters, and now it is just plugging in the room. The Room. I'm going to start from, like, this one, it's just so much to do that I'm just going to kind of take it a chunk at a time. I'm not doing my reductive method because this is just a crazy page. This page is crazy. This page has lost its mind, you guys. All right. Why did they call it flooding a comic? I was trying to think of like a Seinfeld type joke. Maybe somebody can fill that in. What would that be? Why do they call it flooding when you're... I don't know. There's got to be something. Because there's kind of like the Seinfeld bit where it's like, why do they call it a running back? He's not running backwards. He's running forwards. But there's got to be like a Seinfeld bit that could have to do with comics. Paul Pate said this page is off its meds. Exactly. This panel just is not behaving itself at all. Bad panel. Bad panel.
No one has taken any damage.
I think we have Corey. Oh no, you guys. Do I have to demod Corey? I made Corey a mod just for fun. Not just for fun, because Corey is a friend of mine. But I think he's already let the power go to his head. Because he was saying, I'm going to start randomly putting people in timeout, but only people who don't deserve it. I gotta be faithful and trust my mods. So if you guys end up in a random timeout, Corey Kerr is my mod today. Oh, I love this. Gary said, I disagree with the way you're describing it to Paul Pate. I can't agree with that either, Gary. And I guess there's the other loophole where we could just meet at an impasse and just agree to disagree. But that would be agreeing. I don't see a way out of this. And Paul said, don't make me separate you two. I'll pull this car over. I love it. Oh, I love that. Paul, Gonad the Barnicular. That's funny. Why did they call him Gonad the Barnicular? You guys, there's got to be a Seinfeld bit related to comics. I want you to workshop it and bring it back to me at 2. We got to come up with a Seinfeld bit. So the one nice thing about the style I'm working in is just the flat color is going to kind of do most of the work because the shading, I should say the shading is doing most of the work. And then the flats are just kind of underneath like a tone because I want it to have this kind of almost Victorian vibe in the way it looks. I got really inspired by Arnold Lobel's Frog and Toad. And I was like, I want to kind of use that approach. Like, I'm obviously not going to like watercolor like he did. But he kind of does most of the work with the pencils and shading and then lets like flat colors kind of just be like accents, like a tone style. Yes. There we go. Adam delivering the Seinfeld bit. Why do they call it? Why do they call the space in between panels a gutter? It doesn't collect rain. I don't know. I don't know what the punchline is there, but it's got to be something like that. Gutters are for collecting water. Why do they call it the space between panels a gutter? There's no water. Are you supposed to collect ink? I don't get it. I mean, it's not like that is where all the junk and debris drain into. What is the deal? Except there we go. Yes. Oh, Paul with the obvious one. I can't believe none of us said. Jeff said, I like the way you're coloring the book. It's not overpowering the nice ink work. Thanks. And then Paul Pate said, this is the obvious joke. I can't believe. See, this is the genius of Paul, right? Paul is very funny. He saw the obvious joke that none of us were connecting. Seinfeld comics? I'm a comic. I don't get it. That's it. Why do they call them comics? Are they stand-up comics? I'm a stand-up comic. You're making a book. You guys, obviously, my Seinfeld impression, no one else is ever going to match the genius of my Seinfeld. It's the best one. No one's done one better. No one. So this lunatic page and this crazy panel that just will not behave itself is forcing me to do a lot of flat color work. And this panel is the barricade between me and a game of Risk. Yeah, there's another good one. Paul Pate, another good one. Paul Pate said, Seinfeld graphic novel. Is it graphic novel? That actually made me cough. It was so funny. Just thinking about it. Why do they call them graphic novels? What are they, porn? I thought you were making comic books. So that's how it starts. It starts with the graphic novel bit. I mean, this is very Seinfeld structure type joke. So it'd start with the graphic novel bit. Like, why do they call them graphic novels? What are they, X-rated? I thought they were comic books. And why do they call them comic books? And then you go into the, I'm a comic. They're not comics. They're just pieces of paper, bound, saddle stitched. What's with that? Seinfeld graphic novel. My son is so on point. He just said, Dad, please stop. If I'm not even getting a vote of confidence from my son, yeah. So if you guys were getting tired of the Seinfeld bit, you can thank my child for having the wisdom to say, Dad, please stop. It's too much. The Seinfeld bit is dead. All right, so what do we have? Let's mourn the loss of the Seinfeld bit. All right, so we are going to just, again, I'm just trying to kind of grab whatever colors I've already done and just kind of implement them into the page. So we'll probably do the mirror on the wall behind Robert here. And I think I need to refill my cup of coffee. This is like streamer logic. I don't know, Jeff, when you're doing streams, do you have a similar thing where you're like, you're kind of sitting there and you're like, man, I need to get a beverage. When's a good time for me to do that? Corey said, thanks, Ben. Corey was very happy, Benjamin, that you told me to stop making my Seinfeld joke. Adam's just laughing. He's like, oh yeah. No, I will tell you guys, like, having a kid, you will never have a more honest critic. I think Corey can attest to this. You'll never have a bigger fan, and you'll never have a more honest critic. It's kind of like this funny mix. Because they're family, so they're not going to parse words, you know? They're like, who is this goofy guy? This goofy guy making these goofy jokes. Gary said, I'm also with Ben on this one. I wanted him to pull you off with a vaudevillian hook. Like, I'm just like, what? And you just see this hook go whoop. And I'm like, what's with that? Oh no. And like disappear off the. I love that. I can't like, so there is a part of me that would love to do comedy comics. And at some point in my life, I do need to do something fun. I think it would be fun to do something kind of equivalent to like Mugwump or something like that. That's a little bit vaudevillian in itself. And that is one of the classic comic bits that would be so fun to draw, is like somebody making like a mediocre or bad joke, and you just see this hook appear on panel. And the person in the foreground is not, you know, they're on like a stage with like curtains, and they're not aware of this, like this just hook that like appears and then just grabs them, and it's like a 3-panel bit, the hook pulling the person off stage. That would be so fun to draw. I'm kind of curious about that. Gary, do you ever have that? Like, because Gary, you do a lot of like very serious comics. I mean, they're fun, but they're like, you know, more serious in tone. Do you ever kind of wish you could riff and just do like a stupid bit? Like, I don't know. I definitely have had moments like that. And I feel like I mix some lighthearted stuff with my work. Like, Two Stories definitely has some bits, like some funny things in it. The thing that comes to mind that's like kind of a classic little comic bit is like I'm talking about Kid Josh in Two Stories, and it's kind of just explaining how I was really bad at sports, and it kind of pans through different just like epic sports failures where you get to watch like Kid Josh suck as a goalie, or Kid Josh suck at these different sports, and it's kind of presented in like a Sunday comic bit kind of format. And I did used to do a lot of short humor comics for Devastator magazine, which was awesome. We had Amanda actually, who was an editor for that, and I think we had Jeffrey on different episodes of Artcasters, who are both comedians. Like, they're both, their chops are in comedy. But yeah, I used to write little short, you know, like 2 or 3 page, maybe 1 page comedy bits for those magazines, or just illustrate them sometimes because it was fun to work on like humor stuff. Paul Pate said, have you talked about Sinbad since drawing those skeletons? I don't understand. I must be missing. If that's a joke, it went over my head. And if that's a serious question, I'm not sure how that would relate. So let me know what you're talking about, Paul. What you're talking about. Did I screw up a color fill on this page? No, I didn't. Okay, that's good. I was worried that I screwed up a color fill there. And then I'm seeing it and I'm like, I think I was compensating a mistake I made on my inks. Which is okay. I like fixing ink mistakes. That's much better than leaving them. Okay, so we're going to do a little bit more of this kind of crazy living room. This living room is out of control, you guys. Just, it can't be contained. do we do the couch next? I'm getting kind of bored with this wall. Paul Pate means Harryhausen. I'd sometimes fantasize about doing something entirely opposite of D versus M, more silly and cartoony, but I can't tell if it's just for a change of pace. Yeah. I think, you know what might be a fun little thing to do on a break? I did this with 2 stories, and I don't think they're up on my website anymore. At some point, I think I'll publish them. But I was doing these little like Bazooka Joe, like Sunday strips that were related to 2 stories, but were totally lighthearted and kind of silly and retro. I was doing those while I created 2 stories, just to kind of add a little levity for myself because it was such heavy subject matter. I would love to see Gary between projects, like when you finish D versus M, you should just do like 4 Sunday comics that are like D versus M. If it was like I don't know, Barnaby or something, you know? Oh, now I know what you're talking about. Sinbad the movie when he battled the skeletons in sword fighting. That is amazing. They're like stop motion skeletons. I love that sequence. Okay, now I know what you're talking about. I talked about silly symphonies. I did not mention Sinbad. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and get this. I want to take my shading off too, so I can be a little more accurate with my flats. Yeah, that Sinbad sequence is amazing. And it's really cool stop motion stuff. I think that like it's funny. I'm sure Lafferty is probably a fan of that sequence, being so into stop motion. For anybody who doesn't know, too, Jeff has done some like really amazing stop motion work as well. He's just kind of a jack of all trades when it comes to art. But A Wolf's Heart, if you guys want to see just like one guy, kind of amazing what he was able to accomplish as one person with stop motion. But yeah. And then Paul said, I did a short comic called Rust City 2099 that is completely ridiculous offshoot of Detective Perez. And then Gary said Ray Harryhausen was the SFX guy who did the stop motion. Yeah. And he's the dude, am I crazy? He's the guy who did the Rain Corps, right? And like a lot of the walkers and stuff like that in Star Wars. And am I crazy? Was that still Ray Harryhausen? Howie Blabbers? I was just making fun of my bad pronunciation there. Bad page here. Bad page. This page is not behaving. Oh, okay. That was Phil Tippett. I don't know why I thought that was Ray Harryhausen. I'm not as hip to the pop cultural knowledge as a lot of people. I'm not keen. I've talked about this on a stream before. I don't know what the hip kids are up to, like you guys. I have no idea what all the hip kids are up to. I rely on you guys to be like my it's like man on the street interviewers to tell me what the hip kids are up to, because I don't know. There's all these hip kids. They're up to something. But I've gotten to that like almost like boomer level of just complete lack of knowledge of what any of the hip kids, those hip cats, are up to out there. If you guys know in the chat, if you guys know what the hip cats and hip kids are up to, let me know. I'd love to start that as a little thing we could riff on. It's like, here's what the hip kids are up to. Or we could speculate on it, because I feel like a lot of my audience is in the same kind of demographic and age range as me. So we can kind of like be the clueless people trying to figure out what the hip kids are up to. Like we could be like, I think the hip kids are into the hip hop music. I think they're into the punk rock. Wait. I can say that in a more out of touch way. I think they're into the punk rock and roll. Paul Pate said, isn't Harryhausen the main character in Total Recall? Dee Dee Willingham. Good morning, Dee Dee. Oh, and then there is a connection, I guess, with Phil Tippett. Jeff Lafferty said he was kind of a student of Harryhausen. Okay. And then Dee Dee said Harryhausen did the smelliest in the 7th Voyage Sinbad Clash of the Titans, for example. Nice. Adam Lore said Cohagen Paul. And then Paul said, same boomer level and king of dad jokes here. Dee Dee said, I am not a hip kid, just older than you, Josh. I don't know, Dee Dee. I've heard that you know what all the hip kids are up to. That's all I'm saying. I've heard that you have your finger on the pulse of the hip kids. I was joking yesterday that Gary and I, if we ever do a side project, it'll literally just be him and I speculating. I'd still like this idea, Gary. I don't know if you can agree with me, though, because we're on our disagreement arc. Probably have to, even if you agree, you'll have to probably feign like you completely disagree. But I think we should do a show. It'll last about 5, maybe it's like a 15-minute segment where it's like Gary and I both being like, what is with the hip kids? Like, what are the hip kids up to? And what are the fancy whites up to? And it'll be like, I think the fancy whites and the hip kids are doing this. And that'll be our show. And it'll basically be us making like boomer commentary where we'll be like, do you remember when phones had cords? I remember when a television would warm up when you pulled the on button. I remember. What are the hip kids up to today? That's the bit. I got to be careful though, because Ben might tell me to stop because I'm reverting back to like my Seinfeld voice, and I don't think Ben liked it. Actually, Corey's probably more in touch with this because he's actually teaching hip kids. But he said the hip kids are running around calling things, I don't even know how to pronounce this, schwaggy. And so schwag, sorry. And ending sentences with no cap. I think no cap is like not fronting. I need a hip kid to translate for me. But you guys, I'm cool. I'm down with the hip hop music. I'm in touch with the hip kids. Okay, guys, I'm going to play another trailer because I want to get some coffee. I need some coffee. I'm feeling my soul die a little bit from all this flat coloring. And I need fuel, guys. I need fuel to continue on. So I think I'll play a trailer. Is there one you guys would prefer? I feel like I already played Luhan's. Nice. Dee Dee said, hi, Jeff. Looking forward to your new book. I agree. We want to see more of it. The video was really cool, too. And then Dee Dee was saying those fighting skeletons, Josh. That's awesome. And yeah, Dee Dee said Corey is an insider, just saying his daughter. Yeah, his daughter is going to be more clued into what the hip kids are up to. And then Corey said, my poor daughter has been banned from using fake words in the house, and I'll take her phone away if she uses acronyms while texting. I love it. I absolutely love it. That's hilarious. And then Didi said Hubs will want his own Western copy too. He likes Jeff's posters. Jeff's posters are beautiful. And again, this Western comic, you guys need to check it out on Instagram, but it really, it's just Jeff at his like absolute A game, like just bringing soul and love to every page he's doing. It looks really cool. Okay, guys, I'm going to play a trailer. And then I will be right back. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me and being creative on a Sunday afternoon, guys. I'm not going to sing the Groovin' on a Sunday Afternoon song because flat colors are already killing my soul. But I will say we are rocking and rolling on a Sunday afternoon, and I will be right back. And I think we are secretly all the hip kids. That's the big... Wait a minute, guys. We've been talking about the hip kids. Turns out we are them. Okay, I'll be right back. It'd be important for me to line up the trailer. Okay, here it is. See you guys in about 2 minutes.
Hi, my name's Chris and I like comics. I want to talk about this comic for a second here. I just got this in. I ordered it direct from my local comic shop through Diamond Distributing. It's Joshua Kemble's Jacob's Apartment. I really enjoyed this book. There's all kinds of comics out there, let's be honest. There's fun comics, there's superhero comics, there's young adult comics, there's adventure comics for kids. There's so many different things under the planet. But there's also an entire subgenre of alternative books. Real life, real world depictions in comic book form. Situations that happen to each and every one of us. And this is a fine example of that. If you get a chance, order this book from your local comic shop. You won't be disappointed. I can't sing its praises high enough. Okay? Check it out. Jacob's Apartment by Joshua Kemble.
All right, guys, I have coffee. That's good. I have fuel. I need fuel. I need to finish this this background. That has to happen. We're going to do those little sculptures that are sitting on their bookshelf. By the way, this is all based on their actual living room. One of the tough things with like doing historical fiction is you, as Didi knows, we've had some research streams on this before. I need to pull up one of these where we're actually seeing the room where it happened. That was a quote from Hamilton, which I think is something the hip kids like. Gary, just start envisioning our show where we'll talk about the hip kids and the fancy whites. It's like the Steve Buscemi like skateboard bit from SNL. But as a show. I think if we do it, we have to appear as members of the band New Direction, because we're like so in touch with pop culture, right? That we have a boy band. It's how it all threads together into one giant story. How's everybody doing? What are you guys working on? Chime in the chats. Dee Dee, what project are you working on? Are you doing a portrait, a collage, a surrealist piece? I know what Jeff's working on. I know Jeff is working on his comic. I'm almost like 100% certain that Jeff is working on his comic, which is so cool. So cool, you guys. So cool. Okay, here's a better view. This is the unrevised page, but it kind of doesn't matter. I think I revised it for her expression. You know what? Let's pull up the revised one. I think she didn't look kind of surprised enough about the skeleton. She just looked amused, and we wanted her a little more surprised. So there we go. That was the mild revision. Okay. Didn't really matter, but either one, I can pull these colors. Okay. Now we're going to do our little busts. You guys, this is the live stream, and I'm showing you some busts, huh? Huh? How about those busts? When you're asked, like, by your family members or friends what you were doing, you can be like, I was checking out busts on Joshua Kemble's live stream. They were some nice busts, you know? What do you think? Okay. Corey said, I'm putting Josh in a timeout now. I love it. Corey with the moderation. The moderation smackdown. He's like, I am modding this guy, and he's so out of control. He's in a timeout. I love it. Oh, I like that idea. Dee Dee was suggesting that I take one of my my horror portraits that I did a long time ago that I painted of my family. That I sneak one of those horror portraits onto the wall. That is a wonderful idea. I really like that idea. Gary said he's doing digital inks. That's awesome for D versus M, I'm guessing. Dee Dee said working on all of the above. So Dee Dee is working on everything, which is awesome. Dee Dee is a really good channel to check out if you want to mess with like mixed media. And also it's super relaxing. I can't explain it, but something very nice and just kind of friendly about Dee Dee's channel. If you guys want some cool creativity, just kind of going in the background and to learn about new mediums and see like, you know, a very talented artist kind of using all the mediums and stuff, check it out. And then Jeff said, you're right. So Jeff is working on the comic. There's like palpable determination in Jeff that I can just feel. It's like a good vibe. I think Jeff's going to rock this. And that's something I like about our community that I think is really cool. Is like, I feel like we all feed each other. We all feed each other inspiration and creativity. And now I'm turning into my like, hello, art friends persona. But we'll get there. I think we'll get there on all of our projects. Right now, I'm going to paint a wonderful visual picture for you guys. We are Frodo right now, right? We're all Frodo. And we're entering into this like maybe we didn't even pick comics, right? Like comics picked us, kind of like the ring given to Frodo. I'm going to get really over dramatic pretty soon, guys. But bear with me, right? We've all been handed this ring, and maybe we didn't even pick the ring, right? But like we're on our journeys. And I think that right now, like from what it sounds like, Gary is very close. Like I think he's already cast the ring into Mordor. Like he's already thrown the ring into a big vat of lava. I think Gary is almost at the end where he's just gonna like get on a boat and go to a metaphorical heaven, because he's basically Gary's almost finished with his long journey. And then I think I'm like midway, right? Like I'm kind of approaching Mordor, and I'm feeling skepticism because I'm at this like midway point, right? I think Jeff right now is at the beginning of his journey. On his new journey. He's definitely taken on some big journeys before, right? And so for Jeff, it's like right now, it's like you got to feel like, yeah, keep that like energy going to just like be determined to be like, no, like whether or not I picked the ring picked me, and I need to like start this journey and like put one foot in front of the other, you know, and kind of go forward. But I feel like we're all kind of heading on that like inevitable like hero's journey to like tackle our weird projects. That again, I don't even know if we chose comics. I think comics just chose us, right? Because I've known enough cartoonists now to where it's like, I really don't know if most people who do comics like choose to do comics. It's like you just kind of find yourself, much like the ring, you just kind of find yourself with comics as a task. Like it's just gonna happen. I'm gonna be doing comics. Even if I don't like comics, I'm just gonna do them. I don't know why. Yeah, good point. Good point, Gary. He said, no, I think I'm with Gollum over the lava. Yeah, that's a good point. He said, the ring is cast into the fires when the pages are all down, and I just have to give it a once over and edit. That's a fair point. That's a very, very salient point, Gary. All right. Now we're going to color all our books. All these evil books that old me decided to assign to me as a task. Gary's talked about this a little bit too. I think I'll talk about it too. I'm just going to steal your topic, Gary. So like when you're working on creator-owned projects, right? Quite often you're every member of an art team. So you know, Gary and I have talked about this too. There's like different modes you kind of set your mind to. It's like, okay, I'm in writer mode, right? And you almost have to forget that you're going to draw the book because you're going to be the worst client you've ever had. Like you're going to give yourself drawing assignments that if somebody assigned you for pay, you would be like, we got to renegotiate our rates because this is a lot of work, right? But when we care about it ourselves, like we're inevitably going to do stuff that's like more challenging than anything we've ever done for like a paid client because our heart is in it. Anyhow, I have multiple modes, right? There's like penciler mode, there's writer mode. Right now I'm in colorist mode. And each mode, when I shift to it, because I'm being ambitious, I kind of hate the previous guy. Like right now, I'm like, did we have to like flat color every book, dude? Thanks a lot, penciler. And similarly, like when I get to like inking or drawing, I'm like, thanks a lot, layout guy. Like now I have to draw 5 of this character on this panel. It's like I'm my own art team and I hate every member of this art team, but we make really good work. But that's how I feel working on solo projects. Where I'm like, okay, it's worth it because we make really good work, but did they have to do that thing? And I think Gary and I have talked about this. Like the thing that I think Gary and I have similar is like we both kind of hate the process, but we love the results. And we like elements of the process, but like the whole thing is kind of a pain in the butt. But it's like that end result that kind of keeps us coming back, where it's like, okay, but I do like the result. I also realized the likelihood of me continuing and doing a risk stream after flat coloring this is pretty slim. I think what I'll do is finish coloring this panel. And then again, I think I've talked about this on stream. It's important for me to eat. So I think after I'm done flat coloring this panel, I'm going to eat, and then I'll probably come back on and do a risk stream. Which might be nice for those of you who may not be so into the risk streams. Corey said, Gary, do you feel thin, sort of stretched like butter scraped over too much bread? That's funny. Jeff Lafferty said, true, comics is like a curse. It is. It's like a fun curse. It's like a curse we all like, but we all kind of hate. Comics is that abusive boyfriend, right? It like doesn't treat you good, but it shows up with flowers later. And you're like, I guess I can kind of look past the last time. I mean, I do love comics. Yeah, that's a good point. I agree with Gary on this. He said, I wouldn't say I hate it. Also, Gary is on his disagreement arc, so he can't agree with what I say. Like we're in a disagreement stalemate where Gary and I cannot agree with each other. Even if we agree, we have to kind of go, I kind of agree, but like that's our arc right now. But he said, I wouldn't say I hate the marathon of it, but the sustained effort for more than a year, nearly daily drawing just gets exhausting. I agree. That's the thing, you know. Even the hero's journey, like the hero doesn't hate it. Like it's good for them in the long run. But it's miserable at parts of it. And it's the kind of lessons you learn along the way that make the hero's journey worthwhile, right? And honestly, you know, I think this is why I like Risk, and this is why a lot of us artists are just built kind of weird, where it's like, I like the challenge. Like the journey kind of sucks, but I like the challenge, and I like the feeling of there is like a marathon quality to completing these things where you're like, I did it. I know it's lame, but it's like, I took on this crazy thing that like nobody takes on, like, and a lot of people who take on, they just kind of give up, like, because it's really hard. And I did it. Like that feeling of like accomplishing it is really cool. It doesn't last long for me. It never has, because it's always on to the next marathon. But it is really invigorating being like, I took this thing on and I did it, you know? I was going to make a really bad your mom joke, but I'm not going to. Okay, I'll just say the joke I was going to say, but this is about none of your guys' parental figures. But I was going to say, kind of like your mom. You guys, I don't know what's wrong with me. I was designed badly. I'm a bad person. Yes, Ben? Ben wants chocolate chip cookies, and what kind of father would I be if I didn't indulge him? Because he did you eat your lunch, dude? Ben, did you eat all your lunch?
I think I ate all but the carrots.
Okay. Well, I want you to eat some carrots, but I'll get you some cookies, okay? Because that's pretty good. You ate most of it. Okay, guys, I'll be right back. I'm going to get chocolate chip cookies for my son. So we're going to play another trailer. because it is a Sunday, so I have dad duties too. I gotta kind of balance those with the cartoonist duties. I'll be right back. Here is, I believe Philip Chandler's. I think this is.
Hi,
Philip
my name is
Chandler's.
Phil Chandler. I'm a freelance artist, illustrator, and cartoonist. Today, though, however, I want to tell you about a graphic novel I picked up recently called Jacob's Apartment. This book was both written and beautifully illustrated by Joshua Kemble. It is the story of a doomed romance that causes the main character to question his beliefs and his faith, while he's also going through other tragedies in his life. Every page has been illustrated by hand and digitally colored with painstaking detail. It is an emotional story that causes you to think and even question things in your own life. And while the story is a tragedy, it is one that I was completely entertained by and I highly recommend. You can currently find this on Amazon or even check in with your local bookstore and see if you can order it. And while you're at it, you can also check out my Instagram at Phil Chandler Arts and also my YouTube channel by the same name, Phil Chandler Arts. And go buy Jacob's Apartment.
I do have your chocolate chip cookies today.
I think Nick's is sus.
You think who is sus?
Nick's right there.
Good point. He might be the imposter.
He is staring right on top of the bed.
That is true, and he could be the imposter. My son's really into Among Us.
Right?
There is an engineer, so that might be why he vented. I don't know. Yes, Dee Dee said carrots and cookies. Yes. So he had some carrots, baby carrots, as like a little veggie side for his lunch. And that's the one part of his lunch that he didn't finish. But he finished most of his lunch, so I was like, you know what? Have some cookies. Plus, it's like kind of a chill Saturday where mom and dad are having to work. Mom is resting, kind of recuperating, and dad is working. So I feel like, have some cookies. As long as he finished his lunch, most of his lunch, and as long as he kind of works on his veggies a little bit, like I think he'll be good. Okay, we got some interesting comments here. Gary was saying, I'm not as joyful doing the work as Jim Lujan or Christopher Runciman. I agree. Jim Lujan and Christopher Runciman are like really good examples of enjoying the process. I'd say Dee Dee too. Dee Dee really enjoys the process of art. I don't see Dee Dee like hating the process as much as I sometimes do. And I'll say hate. There are times where I just absolutely hate it. That's funny. Dee Dee said, haha, you just passed out back there. And then Gary said, there aren't many things I want to do every day for a year plus. Yeah, that's the thing. Don't get me wrong. It's like, I always feel like the analogy of comics is like one of a marriage where it's like, you know, there's rough patches, but like when you're in a committed marriage, you kind of make it work and you value the things that are great about each other, right? But it doesn't mean it's always like beautiful, like snowflakes, everything's easy. It actually means that you stick around when things get hard. And I feel like comics are like that. They're definitely like, they demand a lot of time and commitment. And like, I would say, I'm still convinced they're worthwhile, but there's definitely stretches of time where you're like, whoa, this sucks, you know? Right? I don't know. But when you think about it, you're like, okay, this is definitely still worthwhile, right? Like it's very much like a love. Art is a love relationship. Art is love. And love is not always happy. Love is sometimes hard work, and love is sometimes like a verb, right? Sometimes love is an adjective. Sometimes art is a verb. Sometimes art is an adjective. I'm getting profound here, you guys. Hi, art friends. Let me know in the chats if you guys heard the whole art friends bit that I've been doing. If not, I'll kind of explain it. I think it's kind of funny. Dee Dee said, because my processes are so varied, I don't do the same thing over and over. I could never make a comic. And then she said, #respect. Nice, Dee Dee. That's awesome. I would love to see a Dee Dee Willingham comic, though. But Dee Dee, you have to understand, I'm going to say that to every artist, because us cartoonists, we're kind of like drug pushers. We're like, oh man, you got to try this. It's awesome. And you're like, I don't know, you look pretty strung out and like not too healthy. And we're like, no, it's like the best thing ever. You got to try comics. Jeff said marriage is a curse, just like comics. I love it. Jeff, not to like pry or anything, are you gonna do more streams? I miss you and Jib doing streams. It was such a kick kind of seeing your guys' streams. Maybe you're like really focused on your comic and like the streams are a distraction. I don't know, but it'd be fun to see you back to live streaming. What's up, Ben? What's up, my dude?
I want to do this in private.
You want me to? Okay, hang on. Sorry, guys. I gotta attend to Ben, so I'm gonna put on another trailer. I know it's a lot of trailers, but I will be right back. Pick a trailer.
Wow, so many trailers.
I know. There's a lot of trailers. How many trailers? Can you count them?
So far, we've only seen 3 of them.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
In this entire video.
that's true. I guess we're gonna have a 4th one
I'm
now.
just going to grab.
I just stopped the trailer like midway through. So Ben wants to do Among Us. And so I'm going to pretend that I'm like monitoring the Among Us while I work. Because he also understands that I just have to work right now. And again, like Mai and I are both illustrators. And so it's like Mai is sleeping because she is a hard worker. Like if you guys haven't checked out my wife's illustrations, you can just kind of look on Amazon for like Mai S. Kemble, MAI, and then my last name. She has like a ton of books that she's illustrated, especially in the last year. It's kind of insane. But I really recommend you guys check out her work and her artwork online. She's an incredibly talented artist. But also, much like cartooning, like children's books is a rough game. Like it's a lot of work to illustrate a children's book. And like I said, this year has been, the last few years actually have been fascinating, where it's like Mai has she'll get like 5 book jobs from clients, and then like she finishes one and another one's added to her doc. Like she's been at it for a long time with illustration too, so it's well earned, like it's not really a complaint. That's kind of where you want to be as an illustrator when you're doing freelance. Like you want to be in the scenario where you're like, hey, I can't do work for you now, can I book you for like 4 months from now? When you're that booked up, like that's just a success. Like that's, and she's worked really hard to get there, but it is exhausting. I think on top of being a mom. Oh, did you see something? By the way, I'm going to be playing Among Us with Ben as well during the stream. A dead body reported.
Dead body reported.
Oh my goodness. Who is dead? You got to tell me.
Nick's got killed.
Oh my goodness.
The dead body was in the kitchen.
Oh my goodness. He's using a loudspeaker.
Anybody who reports a dead body or calls an emergency meeting
Yeah.
has to use the loudspeaker to say that message.
Okay, but Ben, I'm working, so we'll have to just kind of.
Otherwise, we won't have to incorporate this.
Okay, we'll have to just kind of pretend I'm using the loudspeaker, okay? So who was in the kitchen near the dead body? Was anybody there?
Nobody was there. As soon as I walked in, I just saw it.
I don't know though. It's pretty suspicious that.
Except there was also Finn.
Interesting. Finn was there, huh?
Yeah, Finn was already in there when I walked in.
Hmm.
And he was standing right on top of the body.
Okay, that's enough to me to say I'm going to vote Finn. Because I think Finn is really sus. I vote Finn.
Finn voted. Finn votes Joshy.
Finn voted me. What does everybody else vote?
Benjik votes Finn.
Oh. Benjik votes Finn.
Mario votes Finn.
Gary's like, yeah, so Dee Dee said, I will have enough work to keep me busy for my whole life.
Hello votes Finn.
And, Jeff was saying, Dee Dee, you should get in on the 100 days anthology Adam and Frank are doing. Then you could try a comic like Josh said. I agree. And then Dee Dee, regarding my wife, he wasn't the imposter, and I voted him off. I feel bad. And then,
I really thought it was him.
yeah, I did too. I was really convinced it was him. Dee Dee also said, no, Jeff, no comic for you, said in Seinfeld Soup Nazi. Did someone mention Seinfeld? Why do they call it an anthology?
Dead body reported.
Another dead body is reported. You guys, there's an imposter among us. Who found this body, Ben? But it is funny. It is like a bad drug habit. Gary said, take it from me, just say no.
Benjik is dead. I repeat, Benjik is dead.
No, Dee Dee, it's really fun. You'll like it. We'll give you a free sample at first, Dee Dee.
Hello? Benjik is dead now.
Just try it out. Just try it out. Try a little anthology first, Dee Dee. Just a little sample, you know?
Benjik is dead.
Benjik is dead. Oh, no. Who was near the body?
The body was in the hallway.
In the hallway. Was anyone else in the hallway?
I think Mr. Hello was in the hallway too.
Mr. Hello.
And also Mario. You are the only one that I did crime scene.
Wait, did you say Wario or Mario?
Mario, because Wario has decided not to join us today.
Okay, Wario's not playing. It's just Mario. Okay. Did any of them look sus? Dee Dee said, back to Mai, she is a good illustrator, and Dee Dee was saying, let me just support you guys and buy your books. That is enough for me.
Nobody looked sus to me.
But Dee Dee, you'll expand your mind. You'll expand your mind, you know?
Nobody looked suspicious to me.
It's gonna if this were like a movie, kind of like those documentaries about the 60s, finally Dee Dee tries comics, and then it cuts to a scene where she's on the balcony of a a hotel and spinning around about to fall off the balcony, listening to Freebird, and she's just got comic pages. It's why did Dee Dee listen to those guys and try comics?
Now, okay?
What's up?
Let's just get to voting now. I vote Mr. Hello.
I vote Mr. Hello too. I think it was Mr. Hello.
Hello votes Mario. Mario skips.
Mario skips. That's a little sus.
Mr. Hello was the imposter. 0 imposters remain.
We got the imposter, Mr. Hello. You guys, Mr. Hello was the imposter.
The crew voted out Mr. Hello.
I love it. Okay, you guys, we're almost done with this page. I also am sensing that my son's getting a little antsy, so I might, once I'm done with this, I shouldn't say page, this panel, what I'm going to do is break and have lunch and then maybe play with Ben for a little bit.
Let's do another round of this.
Yeah, let's do another round. Let's do it. Another round of Among Us. You guys, this is a live game of Among Us as well with Ben.
And can I tell you? Can I tell you something after I go to the restroom?
Yes, you can. Okay. Dee Dee was saying my mind was expanded in the 70s. But I do like the idea of it being kind of like those Woodstock movies back in the day where it's like, you know, there's the good kid who moves to California. They don't think they're going to get heavy into comics. They have a lot of cartoonist friends, you know, but they're just kind of open-minded. And then one night they go on like a comic book bender. I love it. Dee Dee Willingham said, throwing comics at Josh because that large trout isn't bad enough. Thank you. I appreciate the super chat. So we have to finish the flats for this panel. Hopefully Mai got a decent nap because I am hearing life from the other room.
A new Among Us round has started.
A new Among Us round has started, you guys. I want this to be a chat participated game of Among Us. So everyone in chat.
You are the crewmate.
You are all crewmates.
No, I mean you are our crewmates.
Okay, is anyone in chat?
There are 2 imposters among us.
Got it. Is anyone in my chat one of the imposters, Ben?
No, everyone in the chat is just watching.
Okay, everyone in the chat is just watching, guys. According to Ben. Okay. So this is going to be interesting. Now I'm curious who the imposter is.
2 of the 8 players being an imposter.
8 players, 2 are imposters. All right, guys? Help me out here if we can figure out the imposters. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and color the desk. I think I have a color for the desk already. Yep, there is. Dee Dee was saying Gary would disagree with you, Josh. True. I can't agree that he would disagree, but I definitely can see your point there, Dee Dee. But we're still on our disagreement arc, so I cannot agree with Gary. I don't know how long this disagreement arc lasts. Okay, I am consciously feeling myself losing steam. I don't know if you guys have that moment when you're like working, you're cranking, you're burning the midnight oil. You went on a long comics bender.
Well, I'm just going
And you're
to
questioning your life decisions.
Well, I'm just going to go to my
Oh, somebody just got killed in the Among Us game. I just heard it.
dead body reported.
Oh, Corey said nap time. Catch you all later. Have a good one, Corey. Thanks for hanging out with us. Dee Dee said heading out, checking back later. All right. See you, Dee Dee. Thanks for the super chat. Sorry, what, Ben? Toaster Cat reported the body. Okay. Thanks, Dee Dee and Corey, for hanging out with me while I do this. I'm just planning on... There's another dead body reported.
The body was an admin.
It was an admin.
The people in there were me, Benedict, and also Joshie.
Interesting.
And my name is Toaster Cat, by the way.
Your name is Toaster Cat? Benji's name is Toaster Cat.
Benjic has decided to say I am actually Benjamin, and Toaster Cat is just the one that was reported the body, which is not Benjamin.
Got it. Okay. Who was near the body? Toaster Cat. Okay, I vote Toaster Cat.
Wait, pause.
Yep.
Pause the meeting.
Okay, we're pausing the meeting.
You were also close to the body, and so was Benjic.
Oh, then I vote me. If I was close to the body, that's pretty sus.
No. You shouldn't vote yourself.
Oh, I can't vote myself. Okay.
How about we can't vote ourselves in this Among Us round?
Yeah, that seems reasonable.
Or if we are coming Among Us rounds.
Got it. So I'm going to vote Toaster Cat. What do you guys think in chat? I don't know if you guys have been able to follow the Among Us game.
Toaster Cat votes Benjic. Benjic votes Toaster Cat. Everyone else skipped.
Everyone else skipped.
Skip.
He was ejected. Was he the guy? No one was ejected. Okay.
No one joined the game.
No one joined the game. Wait, is no one somebody's username?
Yes, somebody just joined the game and their name is no one.
Someone just
Which
joined.
means there are now 8 players once again.
Okay, and you know what my username is, right?
Your username is Joshie.
Oh, I just changed it. It's totally not the imposter.
You can't make a username that long.
Oh, mine's not imposter. Def not imposter.
You can't make a username that long.
Def not impo. That's not a suspicious name at all.
That actually has the maximum limit of characters.
Oh, nice.
The maximum limit of characters you can use in your username is 10.
Okay, that's good to know.
Before, your name was Joshie with 6 E's.
I like it. So I am gonna finish up this these flats for this panel and then go to get lunch. I really appreciate everybody who's been hanging out with me. It's fun to get comics done and work.
It's me, Benjic, and I'm just going to head over here.
Oh, Benjic just
Electrical.
went into electrical.
Alright,
Oh no! I think he got killed in the electrical room. You guys, it's like a live murder mystery conducted by Ben.
dead body reported.
You guys, there's a dead body reported. This is insane.
You're not in the game right now. But I'll try to include you in the next
Okay,
one if you
so
want to.
we have that portrait kind of up here. And I think what I'll do is just take out the wall.
Mama Mia has reported the body.
Mama Mia. Is that mom's username?
No, Mom's not in the game right now, but Mom will be in the next game.
Okay, cool. Mama Mia is not mom. That's just a different character.
Mama Mia right now is Luigi's username.
Oh, okay. That's Luigi's username from Mario. Okay. So we've got I just realized I didn't get this little heel part of the skeleton, and I need to kind of deselect that. And then we're going to try to get the other wall done. But I am like this late in the game, I'm starting to feel myself fade a little bit. So what I want to do is I'm going to fill the area that I haven't colored yet magenta. And I'm going to put on another ad so that I can step out, recoup myself, because I need to finish this panel. Like, it's coming out really good, but I need to finish it. And at this point, no excuses. I'm going to finish this thing. Thanks again to Dee Dee and Corey and everybody who's tuned in. And I will be right back in about a minute. Let's see if we can find the brand.
Okay.
And
Dead body reported.
I'll go ahead and play the Jacob's Apartment trailer.
Now, right?
Speak clearly, it seems that only in dreams can we be these things we've seen and walk around breathing things. I don't know the part to play in this heart of mine. There's dissonant things, they split at the seams.
All right, guys, we're in the middle of multiple things. We're playing Among Us with Ben in real life.
Ow, those wallaby.
We are finishing up the flat colors for this page, and I am determined to do this before having lunch. Was an imposter. Okay, we got one imposter, which was Mamma Mia, according to Ben. That's good.
There are 6 players remaining.
And only 6 players remaining. That's pretty cool. How's everybody doing? How's your Sunday so far? How's your progress? I'm curious. I like hearing everybody's progress. I like knowing we're all in the fighting pits together, creating our artwork. We're getting really close to finishing this panel. Okay, one of the members just headed into the kitchen to do a task, and I just heard them die. It was blah. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead. Reported a dead body again. Oh my goodness. Gary said, I'm almost at a good break spot, like you feeling a little bummed out. Like you feeling a little burned out and ready to step away for an hour. Yeah, I'm pretty much just going to get to this stopping point of this panel, and then I'm probably going to eat. I might even rest.
The person that died just now was Toaster Cat.
Toaster Cat just died, you guys. Just saying.
I think Mama Mia's already been ejected. I wasn't imposter. And now right out the people who were close to the body. The people close to their body were Joshua, and then also me, myself, and I one at a time.
Ben's using like one of those loudspeaker things, and it's pretty awesome, but it also like gets a little bit of feedback when he's using it. So there's just these times where you're like, ow, like it hurts your ears, you know? Because it's like squeak. Anyhow, I'm glad, Gary. I'm glad you're making progress, though. That's kind of the game. The game here is just make.
Okay, now, guys, everyone, let's just vote.
Okay, we're voting on Among Us.
The remaining players are, and it looks like some of the people have left the game.
Okay.
There are only 3 players remaining, one of them being an imposter.
Okay.
The 3 players that remain are Joshy, Wario Time, and also Hello.
Okay, I'm gonna vote Wario Time.
Wario Time votes Joshy.
Oh, he voted me.
You're the only person other than me that was near the body, so, well.
It's true. He said I'm the only person who was near the body, so that's a reasonable. It's a reasonable deduction.
Hello votes Wario Time. Wario Time was an imposter. 0 imposters remain.
Oh my gosh, we got all the imposters.
The crew wins.
The crew won that game. Thanks, chat, for your assistance on that. We won the pretend Among Us game that my son is playing. Okay, so I think we're very close to kind of wrapping up this page, which makes me very excited. We're gonna get there, guys. We had a really lively chat on this stream. I really want to thank everybody who chimed in. I'm really invigorated and excited to see Jeff Lafferty's progress on his comic. And I think I've mentioned it multiple times, but I think you guys should check it out. I also think, check out like Adam and Frank on Adam Lore's stream talking about getting the Hundreds anthology back together. I guess, I don't know if that's an exclusive drop that Adam just gave us, but I guess that Kevin has given the endorsement. And Kevin, since we're friends, if that's not true, tell me. Not that Adam would make that up. I don't think he would. But I'm pretty sure it's like legitimately endorsed Hundreds anthology now. And that's really cool. So my point is...
Your username in our next round is Okie Dokie.
Okie Dokie, I love it.
Let's start our next round now.
Okay, Ben. We'll start our next round. Yeah, so anyhow, the Hundreds anthology is back on. And if you guys are curious or interested in being in an anthology or you need a kickstart for your project, I would talk to Adam Lore or Frank Salazar. I think Gary mentioned that Frank might be taking a bit of a social media break for a little bit. So maybe Adam's your point guy until Frank is back. I don't know. Maybe Adam can give us more specifics about that.
Let's start a new round.
But they're getting the anthology back. They're bringing the band back, guys. The band had some really great indie albums. You know, some of those indie albums got a little bigger after they were put out. Yeah, what's up, Ben?
Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
Okie Dokie.
Okie dokie.
You are Okie Dokie. You are the imposter this round.
The imposter
There
in
is
this
one
round.
imposter other than you on the ship.
Okay. So I am the imposter. That's interesting. That means I have to commit some murders.
You are the crewmate this round. There are 2 imposters on the ship.
So, hey, Ben, you got a second? I'm the imposter. I have to like kill people. Hey, Ben.
I'm the second imposter.
Oh, you're an imposter too. Okay.
Oh, my
Are you okay, bud?
Yeah, I'm fine. I just mimicked my tummy hurting because it wants to kill someone.
Oh, okay. Benji's gonna pretend his tummy's hurt so he can lure an unsuspecting Among Us member on the ship close to him and then kill them.
Okay, say it out loud.
Oh, and he said
Don't
not
say
to
it out
say that
loud.
out loud.
Mom's in this game, remember?
Oh, yeah.
And she's not an imposter.
Oh, Mom's not an imposter and she's in the game, so I can't give it away. Okay. I will keep it, my lips sealed. All right, so we are really close to break time. I'm really excited about that. Again, like I was saying, you know, if you guys are, I was kind of on this track where I was gonna say, hey, if you are like a lot of cartoonists, not just you know, we've all had that time where like you're intending to work on comics, you don't have a project currently. Maybe you wanted to work on comics and you've been feeling stifled, or you want to, like we were trying to encourage Dee Dee, maybe you want to try out comics. Really great time to do it is with an anthology.
A crewmate that put handcuffs on their hands as an accessory in the game has decided to walk out of the kitchen and into this room.
Okay. But yeah, so like it's a
help bench to help. Oh yeah.
Okay.
You remember oh yeah as a username me, right?
I think so, yes, Ben. Okay, but anyhow, my point is like if you're a cartoonist who really wants to like have an opportunity or a reason, I think Gary Hodges just left too because he's gonna take a break. He's been working all morning. I think the Hundreds anthology is a really good. It's a good project and it can give you a good reason to kind of rock and make a new thing or maybe try something outside of your comfort zone. So I'm going to encourage you guys to check that out. And there's a dead body reported. And we are almost done, which is good. Okay, so I'm just wrapping up this page and then we're probably going to call this stream quits. So what I will say is if you guys like my streams, a good thing you can do is support me by picking up the books that I've played trailers for during this stream. 2 Stories in Jacob's Apartment. You can usually find them at decent discounted rates on different online book retailers. You can also request that a local library carry those books to kind of support indie comics. And if you have a copy and you enjoyed it, I'd encourage you to get one for a friend, right? Just support indie comics and support the people in our community. Like if you scroll through the chats, like I was mentioning Jeff Lafferty, you know, he's working on a comic. Go support him. Go give him some thumbs ups on Instagram for his really ambitious comics project that he's starting. You know, indie comics are a hard game and like a little bit of support goes a really long way. Let's see what else. I'll be back on streaming probably in about an hour or two. Because today is definitely like this weekend is definitely like a catch up on comics weekend. And so if you guys are around, you know, definitely make sure you hang out during that stream. One other thing I wanted to mention is how will you know when I'm about to go live? Well, you need to hit that bell so you get notifications when I'm about to go live. And that's as simple as it is. So we finished. Let's see what it looks like with shading. We finished that top panel, and I'm actually pretty proud of it. I like it. That is a successful working panel. I would call that mission accomplished, and I'm going to go eat and take a little break and maybe play with my son. As you can tell, he's getting a little antsy. So I will see you guys on the next stream.
Dad, who do you vote?
Who can I vote?
You can vote. You can vote. You can vote. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
One other person.
I'm gonna vote. Oh yeah.
Someone else. Or.
I'm gonna vote. Oh yeah. Okay. Jeff Laverty said panel looks great. See ya. Thanks, Jeff. Keep up the good work too. Your stuff is looking amazing.
You can also vote. I told you I.
I told you I'm gonna vote. I told you I.
I told you I was a bomb.
Okay, I vote. I told you I. All right, guys. We're gonna go continue our Among Us game, and I'm gonna get some food, and I will be back on streaming a little bit later tonight. Thanks to everybody in our community, and I will see you on the next stream. Bye.